Good morning, Veldon. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a day full of opportunity.
Fantastic. Well, Veldon, you've been a change agent in a career field steeped in bureaucracy and tradition. What have you done to bring about change?
Well, I help companies change their culture and do that through helping them make and adopt alternative kinds of decisions, as well as helping them take calculated risk. And I think if you'd have the opportunity to visit with virtually any of those that I've had the pleasure of working, they would share with you that I'm very skilled at helping organizations change, implementing change organizational learning theory, as well as instituting servant leadership practices throughout the organization. And I do that by a personal example and then working with other leaders to be able to help them adopt those same principles. And that moves the organization away from those more traditional top-down bureaucratic management structures and has a positive impact on the bottom line.
That's great. As a CEO, how have you used technology to move your various organizations forward?
Well, as a CEO, I've had the opportunity to direct a complete and total IT conversion to some software that is relational in terms of its database. And through that process, it really had an impact up and down the bottom line. I've had the opportunity to create 2 very successful e-colleges. I've personally directed a web presence at a time when many organizations were sitting back and taking a wait and see approach. And then I've personally written the content for 2 different web pages. In one case, one of the clients was a client that had didn't provide virtually any information on the web, and it now is one of the, I guess, successes is the fact that the SEO knowledge that I've gained has helped put them onto the first page of 2 major search engines. And then finally, I've been helping that same company now implement some CRM software so they can track and market more to their management. So technology has really played a very significant part in my professional life, and it's one of in fact, technology, I think, is one of the things that we really have to focus on. It's a very good example of why we need to change, why we need to learn. And in fact, Deming's quoted as having said something to the effect that change isn't mandatory, but then again, neither is survival. And so frankly, from my standpoint and feelings, that's why I'm so passionate about individual learning, but also organizational learning, and that's what my career's been about.
That's right. Well, I've heard you talk about capturing one's target market as a means of maximizing revenue streams. Share some more about that.
Well, to me, the key there is research as well as strategic planning. And through research, I've been able to look at some of the target markets that we've served and be able to identify pockets within those markets that are not being reached. And therefore, using strategic planning, have developed appropriate programs or services that have then reached out into those segments of that market and being able to provide service to them.
Right. With leadership's need to be extremely cost-conscious, what has been your experience in fiscal management?
Well, as a CEO, I had responsibility for a $23 million budget, and obviously that included both its development as well as its management and administration. But probably more appropriate and illustrates your point is that as a chief operating officer, I had the opportunity to create a budget for, if you can believe this, a 23-year-old company, and in so doing, use broad participation to develop for that $3.9 million company a budget that they were able to then use when the economy went south, and leadership was able to take that budget and pit the expenditure side of things against the revenue side and make a determination, some very difficult determinations as to what they were going to be able to do in the future. And I guess I take a little bit of pride in helping that company to actually survive because they lost half of their income.
What advice would you give an organization to maintain its competitiveness in today's environment?
Well, a little bit biased here, but I think that, frankly, I'd want to have leadership focus on many of the things around which my career has personally been involved and developed. Provide moral, ethical servant leadership. Make sure that you have solid strategic planning and marketing processes. and then don't be afraid of organizational change and quality improvement, and then finally make sure you've got some serious cat herding with abilities within your leadership. And I think with that, you're going to see a very positive